Good everyone, Organ in this video. Today it's a review on the B6N1 Model 11, the B6N2 Model 12, and the B6N2A Model 12 Co. Now, since these aircraft are extremely similar, I just decided to take all three and put them in a review respectively. So that's why the title will be probably something like B6N1/2 or something like that. I'll think of something. These aircraft are new to patch 1.99, and these are three new Japanese torpedo/level bombers. Because you do get a bomb sight in these. Funny enough, that's why I'm calling them level bombers. You could also use them as dive bombers with their pretty impressive speed too. And also, this gives me a chance to waffle over the 100th Spade, because this was the 100th Japanese Spade that I've done on this game, which just proves how much of a masochist I am. Obviously, if you took out premiums, that would be like 96 or something like that. But even so. So the B6N1 Model 11 is probably the better variant out of all three. Obviously, as you can tell, the Model 12 Co is not spaded. However, I have learned the differences from just two flights, so I know what to say. The B6N1 Model 11 features two 7.7 Type 92 machine guns defending the rear. These aren't too bad, they're more already used for ground attack in my personal opinion. This lower gun is especially useful. This was also done on the Model 12, and the Model 12 Co changes it up a bit with a different gun, but we'll cover that in a minute. So the 7.7 Top Gun is not exactly useful, but what makes this model different from the others is right here. This one carries a single 7.7 Type 97 machine gun. This machine gun should be very familiar to you Zero pilots, so that's the best way to summarize. The Type 97 machine gun has a fire rate of 900 rounds a minute and only carries 400 rounds. However, I have managed to bag myself a MiG-3 in this, which is what you're going to see today. I just shoved up the pilot's arse, to be brutally honest. I recommend running a low gun convergence because obviously it's only a single machine gun and you do need to get it on target. I would actually recommend about 400 meters on this machine gun right here. I tended to use it for ground attack, but it was still handy to have just as a backup in case I needed it. The lower gun on the B6N1 is more than adequate. Out of all three, this one is actually the slowest, although it has a bit more horsepower, so I reckon there's some sort of airframe changes as we go along. To be honest, I never really took much notice of the extra speed. The aircraft just felt fine as it is. Then obviously we need to look at the more faster model, but that's literally it. The only difference is this one's faster and doesn't get a machine gun on the wing. This is the B6N2 Model 12. And yeah, they all carry the same payloads, by the way. 6 60-kilogram bombs and 800, two 250s, and two types of torpedoes. Pretty useful, and yes, that was the new menu. I quite like it personally. Then we get to the Model 12 Co, and as you can tell, this one is not spaded yet, but because the Model 12 was my 100th Japanese spade, I just thought I'd throw it in just as like a bonus. The main difference between this aircraft and the previous one is this machine gun is now a 13mm Type 2, which is a copy of the MG131, and the lower machine gun is a 792 Type 1, which is a copy of the MG15. This gun is a lot better for ground attack than the Type 97. Well, sorry, Type 92. Much better rate of fire, although you do get less ammunition. Just bear that in mind. But otherwise, this aircraft is the same as the Model 12. It's the same speed, no machine gun to defend itself from the front, and it's just slightly improved, well, revised tail armament from what I've seen on documents stating it. Obviously, I'm not going to show the Model 12 in this review. I'm actually going to be showing the Model 11, the B6N1. Like I say, this is the best one out of the lot, in my personal opinion, because at least you get the versatility of the machine gun. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that machine gun can do some work. So as you can tell, 4 battles to spade it, 0 deaths, 1 air kill, 22 ground, and 2 ships. The 2 ships, ironically, were my first flight. Dropped 2 60 kilograms on a pair of cargo ships. The B6N2 Model 12 managed to net me 1 air kill, which was on a bot. It was on a TB3 on I think it was what was it called? I can't remember the name of the map, but it's one of those low tier maps where you get the TB3 spawning. 37 ground units to spade it, as well as a couple of bases. That's the same for the B6N1. And then I've only had 2 games in the B6N2, but as you can tell, no wins and 10 ground units so far. This thing's got a long way to go to being spaded, but I just thought I'd show it anyway because, well, it's going to be my 101st Japanese spade. So let's jump in and let's have a look at the B6N1 / B6N2s. Like I say, I do think if you're going to fly any of them, fly the one. The one has the versatility of that machine gun. The machine gun doesn't seem like a lot to some, but it can work. I mean, it ain't got much weight of shot. I mean, a single 7.7 Type 97 has not got any weight of shot to most aircraft, but because you're a BR where there's a lot of unarmored aircraft, it really doesn't make a difference. So, as you can tell, the B6N spam is quite real. I was in the Model 11. This was the last flight to spade it. This was the 4th flight. Or it was the 5th flight. I don't remember how many. Oh, that proves how bad my memory is this morning. But this aircraft is one of the aircraft that managed to spade. I haven't respaded the British aircraft with their new rockets, and I haven't finished the Sea Fury because I'll save that till this patch. In terms of my grind elsewhere, I've managed to get pretty reasonable in terms of the Italian tank grind. I'm working my way up that. And then it just went from there, and I'm just grinding out and stuff. I've got the 2 British Stewards, but yeah, it's just going from there really. So in this battle, as I said, this is one of the last flights, and I displayed some poor bomb dropping, but to be fair, these bombs are very small. If you're going to do convoy bombing, you're going to want to go lower than this. You don't want to bomb from 12,000 feet. But it gets rid of them. The weight's off the plane. It doesn't matter to me. I think I get 1 artillery, or sorry, 1 AAA truck. That's it. Now, I don't know what was coming over me here, but I thought, yes, I'll go near that little Sven. Don't go near little Sven. I don't know what was going on in my mind, but do not go near a little Sven. Just because you've got a machine gun doesn't mean you can brag about it. Everyone else has a machine gun, and that MiG-3 over there actually has cannon. That is the MiG-3 34, because some poor bastard's actually flying that. At least I think it was a 34. Yes it was. And if there's one thing the B6N Tenzan, or also known as the Jill, that was its allied reporting name. I've already made a Jack and Jill meme using the J22 Raiden, don't you worry. If there's one thing this thing can do, it's actually turn. This thing is rather maneuverable. It's like the Kate, although the Kate turns slightly better, in my personal opinion, but the Kate doesn't get a machine gun. And this is the thing, like, it's got good speed, it's got good turn. I mean, it's rather fragile, because, well, it's Japanese, but it can do some work, and, well, the little machine gun, I mean, it's dinky, but you can actually pop plates with it. And I was actually rather surprised to get this, because obviously it's just ignoring me. I reckon he thought, he's no harm, but I actually am a harm. There's my first and only kill. I don't get people like that, because they just think, oh yeah, it's got a single machine gun, it's not a threat. At this BR it is. I know to some people they'll be like, how the fuck did you just pull that off? Well, wasn't that hard. I mean, he was flying in a straight line, trying to go for the HE-100. And you don't have any rear armor. I mean, you have a bit, but I was aiming for the top part of your cockpit, which has no armor. I don't bloody know. But at this point, I decided, okay, I'm going to dive down and smack up this Lancer a bit. Yes, I am this daredevil when it comes to this. I score a crit and I go back up, but obviously I jumped on the machine guns, but I did not expect this guy to pull up so sharply. But there's no way he's following a maneuver like that when I pop the flaps. The RA-2000 comes in, cleans his clock, well, sort of. He's he's actually going to survive that fire, I think, or is it the other one that I'm thinking of? No, it wasn't him. I was thinking of someone else. But I get the assist because obviously I did score a crit, and I choose to engage this Hawk next. Now just bear in mind you've only got 400 rounds, so you've got to be sparing of your ammunition, to say the least, but you can make it work. And with the maneuverability of this thing, it is actually quite useful. And with that 800 kilogram bomb, I reckon this thing will be a little terror, especially this version, because you do get the 7.7 to defend yourself with. So again, scored a crit. Obviously I'm going a bit too fast because well, this engine's got a lot of horse behind it, for the BR at least. And well, Jill can move, she certainly can move. But unfortunately I do not get the kill on that one because the RE2000 again comes in to help me, but again it wasn't a kill steal. It was more than fair. I mean, if I'd set him on fire then that's fair enough, but obviously because my bombs did so little, which they're gonna do, they're 60 kilogram bombs, I should have really grinded out the 800, but I saved that till last. Because I used the 60s on Zhengzhou. On the Japanese side, that's a very good map for this thing, because you can just get in, drop your 660s on artillery and AAA, and just get out. But at least with this one, you can take out 1 or 2 with a gun, so that's the versatility coming in handy. But even though this machine gun, to some, is not very useful, to me it is, and I like versatility. Everyone knows what Joe is like for versatility. If I don't at least have some degree of versatility, I'm not doing it right. I'm not flying the bird right. But again, those 7.7 Type 92s are actually pretty useful. When it comes to belts, you're going to want to use APT in the back guns, because that seems to be the best results for me. And in the front gun, same as his normal 0, use universal. Don't use anything else other than universal once you get them unlocked. But it's not too bad in this ground attack role. I mean, it's doing just fine. You just gotta watch the machine guns though, because they are very prone to jamming, especially the back guns. The front gun isn't as bad, but you've still got to be careful. But it's pretty self-explanatory what this aircraft is like. I mean, you go in, you drop your bombs, maybe nab a cheeky fire if you're lucky, maybe score a crit and get an assist like what I did. And that will get you the Spade. I mean, it won't take you too long. And with the versatility of this aircraft having an 800 kilogram bomb, being at 2.0, it's going to be pretty handy for tank forces. Because an 800 kilogram bomb is nothing to be sneezed at. The B7A2 uses it. And I nearly jammed a machine gun there. That gives you an idea of just how little of a burst you can actually give. I think I had the machine gun belts in the turret in this game. I don't remember. But I do know at this point the front machine gun was out. Just to reiterate, that's why I'm doing strafing passes with that lower gun. And I feel sorry for the top gunner because he actually has to operate that. Unless he's just got like his feet just like connected to a trigger or something. I'm not sure, but he must be a genius or something. But that's pretty much it. This team is cleaned up. Obviously me getting that air kill and getting the assist on those 2 planes has really helped the team. And Bizteca and his RE2000 has really pulled his weight. I have to give credit to him. He's done really well for me and for the team. But the last guy is that MS405, and I just finish up this convoy. And that pretty much is that for the Tenzan / the Jill. Now there is a slight graphical bug which you may be able to see. It's like a little propeller bug, but that's really all I noticed for this aircraft. But otherwise the B6N1/2s are perfectly fun to play. I would recommend the 1 out of the 3. And well, I'd best go for the Spade the Model 12 Co, shouldn't I? Because well, that should be fun with that lower turret. Because well, I love me an MG15. But anyway, I hope to see you all on the next Spade review of patch 1.99, which will be the D2 French tank. I will see you all then.